Hello everyone, my name is Nicole Getz. I am an Indiana State University BSN student. Today we will be discussing vaccinations. We will focus more so on the current implementation of the COVID-19 vaccine. The COVID-19 infection appeared random, and most Americans appeared at risk. There are certain groups that are at increased risk to become infected, and we will focus on this group for the population at risk. Healthcare personnel and essential workers, older adults and those living in nursing homes, which are especially high risk of getting COVID-19 and other serious diseases. Adults with underlying medical conditions are at increased risk for developing severe illness from COVID-19. Racial and ethnic minority groups. According to the CDC, which is the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, long-standing systemic health and social inequalities place this group at increased risk of illness and death from COVID-19. Our learning objectives. At the conclusion of this activity, participants will be able to identify what a vaccine is and why they are important, describe how a vaccine works in the body, explain how vaccines protect individuals and the community, determine what individuals cannot be vaccinated, recognize that vaccines are safe, and summarize vaccine development and implementation. Please stop the presentation here and take the pretest in the link below to test your knowledge. Come on back when you're finished. Welcome back, and let's continue. What is a vaccination, and why are they so important? Vaccines are an easy and effective way to protect people of the community from diseases. Vaccines use the body's natural defenses to build resistance to infection to make the immune system stronger. They teach the immune system to create antibodies. Vaccines prevent disease and save lives, up to 3 million lives per year. And vaccinations are so important to protect ourselves and to protect those around us. How do vaccines work? Vaccines work with our natural defenses to build protection. The immune system responds to the vaccine. It will recognize the germ, which is a virus or a bacteria. It will produce antibodies, which are proteins produced by the immune system to fight off that disease. It will recall the disease later and remember how to fight it. Your immune system will work to destroy that germ before we get sick. Vaccines can protect us for a long time, some even a lifetime, and this is why they are so effective. How do vaccinations protect us? When a person gets vaccinated, their risk of infection is reduced against that disease, which will lower infection rates in the community. And that is because we are less likely to transmit the illness to others. As more people get vaccinated, there is less possibility to pass the illness from person to person. Herd immunity is also known as population immunity. This is an indirect protection from an infectious disease. It happens when immunity develops from vaccination or from a person being previously infected. So when a person is not immune to an illness because they are not vaccinated or they have not been previously infected, but live in a community with the majority of the people being vaccinated or previously infected, the risk for acquiring that illness is less. The World Health Organization supports herd immunity through vaccinations and not by allowing people to become infected and pass the illness from person to person, as this results in unnecessary illness and death from becoming infected. As for COVID-19, per the World Health Organization, it is not yet known when herd immunity will develop. Diseases spread easily and infect the unprotected. This is a key reason to get vaccinated. It is to protect ourselves and to protect those around us. According to the World Health Organization, vaccines save up to 3 million lives per year. Who can get vaccinated? Nearly everyone can. Some people cannot get vaccinated or need to wait before getting. the vaccination. This includes some people with chronic illnesses or that are receiving treatments that affect the immune system, such as chemotherapy. If you have an allergy to vaccine ingredients, you cannot be vaccinated, or if you have an illness or fever on the day that you are to receive the vaccine. In this situation, you would postpone your vaccine until you are well. How are vaccines made and tested? Every vaccine goes through rigorous testing to make sure it is safe before it can be introduced. First, an experimental vaccine is tested in animals to make sure it is safe and to evaluate effectiveness. It is then tested in human clinical trials. Phase 1. In Phase 1, the vaccine is given to a small number of volunteers. It is assessed for safety and positive immune response to determine the correct dosage. Phase 2. In this phase, the vaccine is given to hundreds of volunteers. These volunteers are closely monitored for side effects and to further assess the immune response. Participants usually have the same characteristics such as age or sex. Also in this phase, some participants receive the vaccine and some do not, to make a comparison about the vaccine. In Phase 3, the vaccine is given to thousands of volunteers. But just like in Phase 2, some volunteers do not receive the actual vaccine. Data is then compared to ensure safety and effectiveness of the vaccine against that disease. After these trials are made available, further steps are still necessary to check safety and manufacturing approvals before they may be introduced into the National Immunization Program. Even after a vaccine is introduced to the public, close monitoring will still continue to further detect side effects and effectiveness. When the vaccine against COVID-19 was released, the CDC recommended certain groups to be vaccinated first. And this is where we refer back to the populations at risk. Our healthcare workers, essential workers, older adults, individuals with underlying conditions, and racial and ethnic minority groups are to be vaccinated first. Continued assessment will be done within these groups to ensure vaccine effectiveness. Since COVID-19 is the pandemic we are still fighting, the vaccines were authorized for emergency use. The guidelines are constantly changing, and healthcare workers continue to monitor these changes to ensure best practice. Vaccines are safe and side effects are usually minimal. All vaccines are rigorously tested to ensure safety. You are far more likely to become ill by a vaccine-preventable disease than from a vaccine. Vaccines can cause mild side effects such as low-grade fever and pain and redness at the injection site. With the COVID-19 vaccine, some people have experienced no side effects, where others have reported pain or swelling at injection site, a headache, chills, or fever. After the COVID-19 vaccine, you will be asked to stay for about 15 minutes to be observed for allergic reaction. The nurses and healthcare workers will monitor you there. This brings us to the end of our discussion about vaccinations. Please refer to the handout in the link below to review the learning objectives before taking the post-test. I want to thank you for listening, and again, my name is Nicole Getz, and I am a student in the Indiana State University Nursing Program.